Hey, y'all. So, let me turn this down. I decided to jump on and do a live, and I am going to give YouTube a little time to let people know because I never jump on and go live. I know you all may not actually be on here, but I know you all may jump on at some point. Um, so I'm gonna give it just a second, and I will be back.
Create the illusion that we are unlovable. Choose in this moment to always love yourself first, and your whole life will change in an instant. Love yourself. There's so much I love myself so much. I
All right, so I'm back. And today I just felt the calling to jump on a live and just talk. So, thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching the replay. Um, and I just kind of wanted to talk about alignment. Um, I am approaching my 40th birthday, and things have been transpiring and changing and good and bad. And, I don't even know if we want to label it good and bad. There's just been so much change going on over this last year. And I think all of this change for me started last year when I turned 39. Um, I left a month after my birthday in September. My birthday's in August, the end of August. I left in September on my journey to Africa. And my push was I had bought land in Africa. I had bought land in Rwanda. So I said, it's now or never. You already paid this money for this land you have not seen. It is time to go. Now, when I left, it was interesting because some of you may know I got into a car accident in Mexico in I guess that was December of 2022, which required me to go back to the States and be there for about 9 months. And that was rough. That was a very difficult transition for me. It was very difficult for me to go from freedom to having a back injury um, that I had to pay for because, there's no, you don't really sue in countries like that. Um, it's not really a thing. And even if you did, what are you going to get, right? So I had to come to terms with I'm going to have to take care of this treatment. And it was rough. It was very rough. I went through a depressed state. I left a lot of things. YouTube is one of the things that I left. But I left a lot of things. I stopped working. And, as I came out of that state, I decided which things to pick back up and which things not to pick up. And YouTube was one of the things that I decided not to pick back up. And when I left, in September, 9 months later, I was still in pain. I was still having pain. But I had made a decision that I'd rather be in pain living abroad and living my life than to stay in America and be in pain. So I left and I went to Rwanda. And miraculously, after a couple of months, the pain dissipated. I was no longer in the pain that I was in initially. when I was still in America. And I went to Rwanda because I had to finalize my land purchase. I wasn't just going to leave it out there after I had spent so much money. Money will take you amazing places. So after I had spent so much money, I wasn't just gonna leave it. So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna go to Rwanda, and then going to Rwanda, I would next go to Kenya. Um, and Kenya is that place that I've wanted to go ever since I was a little girl. And it was Black History Month, and we were assigned an African country, and I was assigned Kenya, and I did so much research on it. And over the years, I've met Kenyans, and I practice Kwanzaa, even though Kwanzaa actually doesn't come from Kenya; it comes from New York, but that's another story. Um, so over the years, I just felt this draw to go to Kenya, and eventually I did go there by way of Rwanda. So I went to Rwanda, and the expat community there is amazing. They open their arms to you. Very loving community. They have their stuff like anybody else, but they're very open and loving community there. And one of the ladies I had actually helped with her real estate. And when I got there, she remembered me. I had no idea who she was because we just had a conversation. She wasn't a coaching client, it was just me giving her a little information, just basic, what I consider basic stuff. But it ended up being really positive for her and helping her to do what she needed to do to make the move to Rwanda. And it was just really amazing, the community there and how they grabbed you in and they loved on you, and just amazing, amazing people. Um, but Rwanda wasn't necessarily for me. It was a place for me to see that there could be community. I found community in the Black expats, and I found community in the Sudanese community, which the Sudanese people were leaving, escaping from Sudan, from the war. Because there was a lot of war going on in Sudan, and this was one of the places that would accept them, that they were escaping to. So, one of my now best friends is Sudanese. We just really connected, and I just love him like a brother. Um, and I found community there. And I think community is important when you're traveling the world and when you're an expat. A lot of times people are running from things in the beginning, but so they feel they need to um, have quiet time and be alone. But once you stop running and you start being, community is very important. However, that community looks to you, whether it's an expat community, whether it's a local community, community is so very important. So it was good to have that. And because I did have community there, I stayed there for a while. Now I'm going to tell you, and you'll hear me say, Rwanda is not for me. Uh, Rwanda is quiet. Um, it's not a lot to do. It's very much um, a lot of nature. You're surrounded by nature and just beautifulness. It's a very beautiful place to be. But they still, they developed, but they still have their dirt roads and their water outage and power outage. Not as much power outage, but they just that water. Oh goodness. But they're still developing, and they're developing at a quick pace. And for that reason, I think that the local people are having trouble keeping up with the pace. But it is a nice place to visit. It's very calming, a lot of greenery. Very, very nice place to visit. So my goal was to stay there for a month, to get everything finalized for my land. Getting everything finalized for the land took longer than a month, and after a couple of months, I just decided to stay longer. So I think I ended up staying in Rwanda for about 6 months. Around 6 months is my time where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do something else. Um, and so I went and I visited Kenya, And the first time I visited, I was like, I do not like this place. My son's phone got stolen out of my purse. I was just like, oh, I hate this place. But and there were just things surrounding that visit that just weren't very positive. Um, but I went back to Rwanda and I said something. It's got to be something about this place. Why is this place on my mind? So I said I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back for 2 weeks. I went back to Rwanda, to Kenya, Nairobi for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, I fell in love with it, and I stayed 2 months, and I made a decision that I actually will be moving to Nairobi. So right now, I'm in the States, but when I leave the States, I will be moving back to Nairobi, Kenya. And Nairobi for me gives me the best of all worlds. First, I was able to find a good school there that was recommended to me. That particular school has does special needs, and they do special needs and they do regular schooling. And they have so many things there, so many things that we don't have here in the States for our schools. If we do, you're paying hella money for it. Then you can go and see the animals whenever you want. You can go to the giraffe center. You can go on a safari. You can just, I mean, if you really want to be one at nature with the animals, you will be one at nature with the animals in Nairobi. But then it has the big city. There's a mall on every corner, a huge mall, and there's always something to do in the mall. We went to the car show. We went to, what else did we do while we were there? We did the car show. We did some other stuff. But the malls always have something going on. And then they have like for the kids, they have like a cat chair, but for older kids. So they have the trampoline parks, just so many different things to do there in Nairobi that just leave you like, I love it. I love it here. If you love a big city, if you don't love a big city, you're not going to like Nairobi. But if you love a big city, you will. You may like Nairobi. Then you can always get on the train 4 or 5 hours, and the train will take you to the beach, or you could do an hour flight to the beach. So those things are the things that make me say, okay, I really, really like it here in Nairobi. And that's where I'm going. I'm going back to Nairobi. Um, but in the meantime, I want to really touch on what's happened in this course of this year. When I transitioned to go to Nairobi, um, there was a lot of, um, I don't know if I would say healing, because I think that we're always doing a level of healing. But um, I think we're always healing, you know. We're constantly healing old wounds, new wounds, different patterns. But I think that we're also um, transforming, transforming into this new version of ourselves, whether we want to or not. Because if we're I think that there are some people that are just living and doing as they're programmed to do. In America, we're programmed to wake up, get ready, go to work, go to school, be productive, go home, um, do the necessary task, eating, sleeping, um, very very little socializing, not a lot of socializing, but a little bit of socializing, and then we turn around and we do it all over again. But when you're living out loud and living in your purpose, and you start to align, you're not really just being and doing anymore. You're out of a program, and you're truly living and doing what it is that you're aligned to do, what your purpose is. And that's a little different when you're trying to find your true purpose. and what it is that you feel like, what is it that I'm really here to do? So it's a little different. It's a process. You go through all of these different, I think, channels of things. Like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And these things can take place while you're just living life, while you're getting up every day, doing the programming, working, all of that. But in the back of your mind, you may think, what am I really here? What am I really here to do? What is my true purpose here? Because we all have a purpose, right? It's just that most of the time we're living life and we don't have time to think about that. We don't, we try to survive. Purpose. We're just trying to survive over here and make it through the days. Um, but when you think of when you do step back, and I think something about me approaching 40, something about those big numbers really makes you think about your purpose and really makes you wonder, like, what's really going on? Like, what am I? It's got to be more. There's got to be things bigger than me. And I see that all of those things start coming up when you approach one of those milestone ages. And I think that's where I am. And while I was living in Rwanda, between Rwanda and Kenya, I started to wonder, like, okay, y'all, I took this year and a half sabbatical. Basically, I was like, I retired from nursing. And it's fun because I get to go out and meet for brunches and go to the jazz clubs and all of these different things. Because, when I live abroad, I have help. So it's not so, I don't have to worry about who's going to watch my son the way that I do here in the States. Oh, child, it's so hard here in the States. But, when I have that freedom and I started to really just kind of ponder. Ooh, I like that word, ponder. I really started to ponder on what I wanted to do with my time. Um, I mean, I don't want to work 5 days a week. No, I don't want to do that. And I do have my real estate investing, and that's what really keeps us afloat. That's what we rely on. That's my bread and butter. However, I started to think that there's still more. Like, I don't really necessarily think at 39, all I'm supposed to do is go on brunch and coffee dates every day. Uh, so I started to get bored once my son got in school because he was going to school in Rwanda. And then I put him in school in Kenya. He was gone during the day. And, I was like, I mean, I sleep till like 10, 11. Um, but it's got to be something else I'm supposed to do. And I thought about that for months. It wasn't a quick process. It was something that I thought about for some months. And so, I'm sorry for my voice. I took my son to some doctor's appointments yesterday, and they were in the hospital, and I think I got sick. Just being in that hospital. Oh Lord, I don't know. And I started to really think about what I wanted to do because whatever I do next, it needs to be something that I really want to do, and it needs to be something I feel really passionate about. Um, and oops, for me, excuse me, I feel very passionate about helping people. I feel very passionate about helping women. One of my guy friends I was talking to, and I was telling him about my new venture. And he was like, I know it's for women. And I was like, how do you know that? And he's like, I know you. Everything you do is for women. You don't give us men no love. And I was like, I just feel like y'all have so much. It's a male dominated society. You don't need me. So as I started to really think about it, um, I my background, I'm a nurse practitioner. I've worked with adults, geriatrics, disabilities, psychiatric, hospice. I've worked with all kinds of things, all kinds of people. But I really like psychiatric the most. I really like helping everyday people get through these moods, these bad moods, these sad moods, the anxiety. And expat community, I think you see a lot where a lot of women, at least in the Black women expat community, a lot of women are running from things. They experience a lot of depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, difficulty with, finding themselves and releasing and not being so strong. Because I feel like we're forced to be strong in our community. We're bred to be strong in our community. And then when we're strong, we're um, we're talked down because of it. It's bad to be strong. It's bad that you do this. It's bad that you say you don't need a man when we're bred and raised to be that strong woman, especially our Black community, that strong Black woman. Um, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I know that there are lots of people that will say differently that you have to balance of feminine and masculine energy, and that you want to make sure you live a soft life to not be so strong all the time. And over the years and listening to people, I don't know that but I don't agree with that. I don't agree that everybody should be middle of the line. I think that some of us are stronger and some of us are weaker. Um, Good morning. So no, I don't subscribe to the masculine, feminine balance in that energy. I think that some of us are just strong, powerful, badass, go get it women. And if that's a masculine energy, so be it. Somebody got to do it. And I think some of us are more passive, laid back, um, um, you know, supportive, that energy, that type of person, and I think that's okay. I think that what you are is okay. I don't think that we should have to necessarily label it and fit in a box, because think that, in my opinion, all you did was take us from one box to another box. But why should we be in a box? We should just be, right? Just be who you are and work within whatever energy you're in, because it works for you. You don't want to be too much of anything, but be who you are and be happy in it and utilize that. Um, Utilize that to do what it is that you feel like you're put here to do. So in my search, not my really my search, being open to what is next for me, because you all know I've done quite a bit over these last few years. My real estate investing, my traveling, helping other women do that, my coaching. Good morning. I've done quite a bit, but at this point, I want to do something that I am passionate about. So over months, I decided I was really passionate about helping Black women heal heal from the traumas, deal with the depression, deal with the anxiety, deal with the generational curses, deal with um, the shit that's placed on your shoulders to fix things, to fix you, to fix your kids, to fix the spouse, to fix every damn body. I mean, we just fixing everybody. And we're fixing ourselves too. But we still don't give enough time, energy, and space to fixing and healing ourselves. So I had decided I think that's where I'm gonna be. That's the space I'm going to be in. I'm gonna be in the space of helping women fix or heal themselves. Um, And that's huge. For me, that's huge because everything I do, I take pretty personally. So I actually, over the next few months, I created a clinic, which I'm just now launching. It's Holistic Breakthrough Wellness Clinic, and it focuses on healing Black women from the mental, the spiritual. Um, we touch on mental, physical, spiritual, all of it. It's a functional medicine holistic clinic, but it's different. It's something that I decided I really want to do. I really want to work with our women. I really want to heal our women. I really want to get us to the next path. And I think that a lot of us don't have that option to say, what is it that I really, really want to do in my lifetime? What is it that I feel like I'm here for? What is that next step for me? Um, because, like I said, we're programmed to get up, get ready, go to work, go to school, come home, do what we need to do, and move on to the next step. And that's not fair. When do we get time for us and to be ourselves and um, to do what it is that we feel like we're destined to do? Um, and I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate, and I think that we have to carve out that time. Whether that includes traveling across the across the globe and globe trotting. For 3 years, I've bounced around to different countries. Yeah, you're right. Black flourishing and free healing is so paramount for Black women. We often don't talk about that part of the journey. We don't, and we bottle it, and we continue to bottle it. And I think it's time that we're doing everything else around healing, but really dealing with those emotions. I mean, even myself, I think that when I first started jumping countries, I was actually on a path to healing. I was being led by my grandmother to the countries I was going to. I actually went to Panama for a week first, and it was the first time in Panama, and I got to meet relatives because my family's from there, and it was so very spiritual, amazingly spiritual. So much so that when I went home and packed up my house, I went back to Panama. That was the first place my son and I went, was to Panama. And from Panama, we were then led. Well, we did Panama, um, Panama City, and then what's that area out there that all the expats go to in Panama? I can't remember it right now, but we went out there, and then we went out to Bocas del Toro, and from Bocas del Toro, we walked into Costa Rica, Puerto Viejo. Well, you don't actually go into Puerto Viejo. You go into Manzanillo. Um, but we walked across the bridge into Costa Rica. And Puerto Viejo, I say every Black woman should go there at least once in their life. It is such a healing place. And people tell you, Limon is bad, Limon is bad. There's nothing bad about that place. It's so beautiful. It's still very natural. Playa Negra, the Black Beach, is very healing. It was amazing. It was just, you've been there before, yeah. It's so amazing. Very healing, and it's funny because when I went there, I met someone, and she was actually from the same city that I live in Douglasville. I didn't mean to say that, but in Atlanta, and it was so funny. We met in Costa Rica, and then we that while I was there was an earthquake and there was a flood, and they're like, "Wait, we haven't had a flood in 10 years." Um, but for me, I think that it was washing some things away. It was washing away a lot of the pain and the trauma and just all of these different things. I tell people I felt like it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. in Costa Rica. But apparently, I was supposed to be there and I was supposed to experience this. And it was just a washing away of layers of stuff that I had carried for so long. It was just, I would go out on the balcony and just sit as it just rained and rained. And, the flooding came. And, sometimes I would sit out there and I would just cry because it was just releasing, and I was releasing and relinquishing all of these things. And, it's unfortunate that we're not allowed to talk about this part. I just did an interview with Melinda for her channel. And, she was telling me that I was one of the very few women, very few YouTubers that was real about the travel journey and how every damn thing is not perfect. And that's because it's not. Everything is not perfect. This little brain is getting on my nerves. There's some shit that goes wrong. Sometimes it's stuff that you don't like. And that's okay because life is not perfect, right? But yeah, during this time, I relinquished so much. And it was the beginning of my healing journey. And I think we all have that beginning at some point, at some phase in our life, and it looks very different. And having someone to help you facilitate that journey and facilitate that healing, I think is so very important. And 3 years later, because that healing journey is not quick, especially when you go about it on your own. I'm now at a place where I want to help women with their healing journey. Um, and that's important to me. It is. It's important to me. And I feel like I'm that person that's supposed to help with that. I'm the person that's supposed to aid in doing that. Along with other people that I've brought in to help with that healing journey. Um, but it's hard when you do it on your own. Um, it is. You can do it, but it's hard. So that's where I am right now. I'm in a place where I want to help other women heal. Um, and I fast forward to the countries I've just bopped around to. Um, Colombia. I lived in Dominican Republic for 6 months. 6 months is my lucky number, y'all. I never make it past 6 months. At 6 months, I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. So I'm hoping in Kenya I can make it past 6 months. Because by 6 months, I'm like, okay, I love it so much. Now I don't love it as much. So 6 months, I'm like, okay, it's time to go. So it's been a journey, but I feel like it's all my journey has led me to where I am now. Right now, today at this place, it's led me all around where I need to go to touch the people I need to touch, to meet those that need to be there. Um Yeah, it doesn't have to be hard with help. I'm glad you're helping Black women too. I'm a psychotherapist, and a lot of women don't know how to get help. Yes, they don't. And a lot of women don't trust people in the medical field. So it's like they have to find us. When I was working in psychiatry, which means that I do prescribe, a lot of the women would come to me, whether Black women and powerful women, those two types of women tend to seek me out. And they say that they were looking for someone that was like them. I had someone Google me and say, I looked you up and I saw like you are doing all of these things. And I thought that if you're doing all of these things and if you're this woman of power, that you can definitely help me, because she was also a woman of power in power. She wasn't necessarily a Black woman, which is fine. She was a woman in power. And I feel like us women that's in this power, in these power roles, we connect on a different level. And we understand, like even unspoken, we understand what lays on our shoulders because we have to compete with men. We have to compete with, you know, men that get up and get to do whatever they want to do, whereas we're doing other things. We're taking care of family, we're taking care of parents, we're taking care of spouses, we're doing all of that. And we still have to prove our power when in actuality, we're much more powerful because we're able to juggle all of that and this role in corporate America or the medical arena or wherever you work. So you have to juggle all of those things, right? So how dare someone question your power if you're doing all of that? But you know, they do. They definitely still question. Um, they definitely question it. And it's good that it's people out there like us. It's good that, you know, I'm happy, Black Flourishing Free, that you're a psychotherapist and you're working with people to help them realize, especially women. Women need that extra nurturing, hell, nourishing too. They need that because we're at a point where it's time for us to focus on ourselves. It's time for us to start really healing, not like this surface healing where we're like, oh, you know, I did the spas and I went on the nice dinner with candles and now I'm in this soft life. No, 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 no. That's not healing. That's surface. It's nice, girl. I love a good massage. It's nice. It is. But getting to the bottom of things, really digging deep into what's going on and what has caused these things, looking at that childhood trauma that you either experienced or you saw, you watched. All of that makes a major difference. Um, all of that is what creates you. That's what got you to this point of who you are today, currently. And that's not a bad, you're not a bad, it's not bad. It just is. Some things just are. And we just accept that they are. Um, and once we accept it, we can work through it. That's all to it. We accept it, we work through it. So I did add the link if because I do a free call to start with. And we go through what's going on and we talk about if this is something that you're ready for and that aligns with you. Um, so I put the link there because I always forget to put links. Uh, but I want to, I don't know. It's interesting. It's I don't know. Y'all know when I get on a live, I don't have a script. I just go off of what is given to me. Um, but I'm happy in this space as I approach my 40th birthday, almost a month out. I'm happy to be in a space where I can follow my destiny, create my own company, help who I want to help, um, help those powerful women that need to heal underneath, um, live my life, live abroad, travel abroad, and still have a stable income coming in. I'm happy that I created that. And I was talking to when I was talking to Melinda when she was interviewing me, she was saying, you know, girl, I want that, and I'm trying to get there. And I told her it took me 10 years. I am not gonna sit here and be like, hey, yeah, girl, I did this in a year or two. It took me 10 years to get my mindset together. It took me 3 years to get it instituted before I left. But it took me 10 years of wondering, dreaming, and wondering if this was something that I could do. Even just my real estate investing took me 10 years. 10 years sitting on a house before I was like, okay, girl, now you can leave and start doing what you do, start your rental business. Um, it was mindset. It wasn't anything but that. You know, after being married and divorced and being with a man that tried to stifle my creativity, and my creativity is not like painting or drawing, but thinking. I get these ideas, and I'm like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. That was being stifled in my marriage, and it was because we just really weren't aligned. Because I'm just like this, hey, I want this, and I want to create this, and I want to do this. And he was like, I don't want you to do any of that. I just want you to work here, and this should be enough. And why isn't this? I was RN at the time. Why isn't this enough? But it wasn't. It wasn't enough for me. Um, and so we were on two different levels, two different wavelengths. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone where you aren't aligned at all? Whether that's a friendship or romantic relationship. Imagine being married to someone you're not aligned with. That doesn't really work. So after that, it took me some time to really get into what I wanted to do and what was okay, and not feeling like, oh, Charisma, those ideas are too big. You shouldn't do that, because that's what I had heard. Those ideas, yeah, you shouldn't do that. So it took me some time. And, I think too many times people get on here and on social media and all these things, and they're like, oh, I did this, you can do it too. It takes you a 3 months. No, it's a mindset thing. It's, first of all, you got to get your mindset right, and that may take you years. And then you start the action phase of it. When you start the action phase actually is fairly quickly. It's the matter of getting to the action phase. um it's crazy, isn't it? But I don't know, I'm always real with you about what I do and how I do it. Um, so I don't know. I'm here. If you decide you want to do a call and you decide this may be something you are ready to do to start this healing journey, I'm here. Um, and I would love to help. I have this thing where I feel like I'm called to help so many women collectively. Um, I see this just being a major healing, transformative, spiritual thing. I don't think this is fly by night something. I don't think this is something that will end with me. I think this is something that is major, that is huge to healing the masses of people. And that's just, I don't know, that's just my thought process. Maybe that's my dream. Maybe that's my vision. Maybe that's my manifestation. Um, and, I encourage you to have a dream, have a vision, to manifest, to speak out loud, to say what it is that you want. What do you truly, truly want in this world? Because whatever that is, it's not that far away. It just feels far away. When I started thinking about that, which was now 13 years ago, but when I first started thinking about that, the idea of doing these things just seemed so far away. It just seemed like a dream, like untouchable. But today is right there. And now I have something new that seems untouchable. Seems like a dream, this vision with how I feel like my clinic will go. It just whew, seems like it's way out there, but it's not. Just like anything else we've done and we've accomplished, it's very close. So I encourage you today to dream, to think about what it is that you desire and what you want to do. Take a moment to dream. Dream big, beyond your wildest imagination. Because if you can think of that dream, if that dream comes to you and you can see it, there's no reason you can't get to it. There's no reason you can't achieve it. Um, it steps to it, and it takes time. But anything that you can dream, you can achieve. So that's my message for today. That's why I was called to do this live. That's why I was called to jump on here. And I wish you all an amazing day and a wonderful week. Ciao.